Peace and blessings. This is your girl, the Philly Bruja. Hey, y'all. Hey. So I was offline pretty much all day yesterday, and I grabbed the newspaper. Yes, I still get the newspaper, y'all. I'll grab it if I see it. Okay. I'm very old school. And I also still like to actually read books as an actual book in my hand. I don't know. It's something about the smell of it, turning the pages. I'm still pretty old school on that. But let's go ahead and get into this really quickly because this is an update on the story that I already brought to you guys a couple weeks ago when it happened, because I was completely like, what? So now they went ahead, they released the name. If you did watch the previous upload that I did in regards to this particular person and this crime, and you saw his videos, you got like a brief clip, like a little brief view of the girlfriend or the ex-girlfriend, the victim. And yes, I did have her name and all of that stuff then when I made the upload, but I didn't release it because, the media didn't release it. So I wasn't going to be the one to do it. I didn't know if her family was notified or what. But we're going to go ahead and get into this real quick because there has been an update. It is very freaking gruesome, okay? I hope you're not eating lunch. Here we go. All right, y'all. So we're going to get into this. And hopefully it won't take that long. I don't have that much time anyway. But I did want to bring you guys up to speed for those who was interested in the story that I had posted a couple weeks back. So here's the update, okay, guys? A barrel woman who was still alive. Yes, y'all, she was still alive when her ex-boyfriend began cutting her head off. Mm-hmm. The coroner did put in the report that the victim, she was alive. Her name was 58-year-old Deborah Sager. She was alive when Nicholas started to decapitate her, okay? I'm just going to read it straight from the newspaper. And then, yeah. I guess every time we go to court, we all know what's going to happen here, okay? And the crazy thing is, after doing more digging and more investigating, I think he was like a victim of he was the victim of domestic violence at one point. Okay, so all right, here we go. Da-da-da-da-da. Yes, I am holding the actual newspaper in my hand. Can't believe they still make these. Anyway, the medical report was read during the preliminary hearing on Tuesday on the murder charges filed against Nicholas Peter Scurria. Scurria, 32 of the 400 block of South Springfield Road, is charged with murder of the first and third degree, as well as abuse of a corpse and possessing an instrument of crime for the February 11th decapitation death of 58-year-old Deborah Sager. If you go to the previous video, you'll get like a quick little glimpse of her in his video that he posted because he was a YouTuber-ish, okay? So Judge Kelly McCosey Aguirre heard testimony from one of Clifton Heights police officers who allegedly caught Scurria in the act of cutting Sager's body into pieces with a machete. I don't know about y'all, but not that many people have actual machetes just lying around. I'm just saying. I do, but I collect things like that, okay? Anyway, any investigator who interviewed Scurria a few hours later, Officer Stephen Paul, said he and Officer Ryan Cummins responded to an early apartment complex. Okay? It was for a domestic disturbance call, and on the affidavit, the probable cause indicates the call came in around 4:41 a.m. It was a neighbor reported waking up to screaming in the apartment next door, heard the banging, and And then it was like a moment he heard, the neighbor heard the banging, heard the screaming, right? And then everything just went quiet. It just went quiet. And then he started, or the neighbor started hearing like some banging and some sawing sounds. Yo, I know that had to be crazy. So Paul told Assistant District Attorney Kristen Kemp, hey Kristen, that the officers had originally been given an apartment number that did not exist. Well, it really wouldn't, because if you look right there, there is no apartment number on this. It's like a front bottom apartment, but it's street level. Put it that way, because the rest of the apartments are not like street level. Okay, you can see the apartment right there, y'all. That's exactly it. That's the front door. That's what it leads into. Let's say. So yeah, the apartment number they were looking for didn't exist. Looking in the rear of one of the buildings. So as Paul made his way, this is the officer, made his way to the back, to the front of the building after asking dispatch to check the apartment number with the caller. He said Cummins looked into the window of the only apartment with lights on and was alarmed by what he saw. Yeah. Officer Cummins noticed the defendant was cutting and sawing a female victim's left leg with a machete. The affidavit states, furthermore, the female victim was decapitated while lying on her back on the floor. And Cummings observed rolled up, balled up plastic material next to the victim's body. And this is kind of where I would see the first degree would come in. I mean, because what the hell is going on here? Who randomly has that kind of plastic and material in their home? I mean, unless you're like a construction person or you're getting renovations. Like me, I have it because we're getting renovations done, right? That's not something I would think that someone would have just on hand like that. Anyway, so the plastic material was next to the victim body, okay? Paul described the window as close to the ground, and it is. If you look right there, the window is right next to the door, okay? Paul described the window as close to the ground with the view downward. He said he joined Cummins at the window and saw Scurria carrying a green tote or box. Both officers raced to the front door of the apartment and tried to gain entry, he said. Cummins then returned to the window and smashed it before holding Scurria at gunpoint and ordering him to the ground. Additional officers arrived from nearby departments, and that means like every freaking county and probably that whole goddamn there's boroughs outside of Philly. So it's not Philadelphia. These are their own entities. They're boroughs. So you could be on one side of the street and it'd be like one borough, and then on the other it's a whole nother one. So you got police coming from everywhere, especially some shit like this, okay? Don't nothing really going on out there, so you know that part. Cummins then returned to the window. He smashed it before holding Scurria at gunpoint and ordering him to the ground. Additional officers arrived from nearby departments and were able to force entry. Paul said he was the first one, and he went through the apartment to the bedroom where he found Scurria face down on the ground and the victim on the other side of the bed. At that point, I was able to see the neck region of the victim, and there was no head attached, he said. Ugh, this is so gross. This is sad. Hey, you guys, they didn't find any drugs in the apartment either. They didn't find any drugs in the apartment. I think I would try to get rid of the weapons before I would get rid of the drugs, right? I don't know. Anyway, the officer said at that point he was able to see that the victim did not have a head attached. Nearby, Scurria was on the floor, was a large machete weapon, said Paul. No one else was present. Paul said Scurria was naked from the waist down, wearing only a shirt, and he had no visible injuries. He was handcuffed and brought out to the living room where he was able to put on a pair of pajama bottoms before Paul transferred him to the police station. Paul said Scurria did not make any comments during the drive, but the affidavit, I have a copy of that affidavit. I did block out some stuff from the last video that I posted. I have the unedited affidavit. Let me see if they saying the same thing, okay? During the drive, but the affidavit indicated he made several unsolicited remarks while being taken to the police vehicle and repeatedly said she tried to cut my balls off. Yes, that's what it said in the affidavit. And it also had her name and everything. That's how I was able to get her name. It was on there, unedited. If I did put it in that last video, I'm 100% sure I edited out her name and some other stuff. Clifton Heights Sergeant Ryan Barry said that he and Delaware County Detective Vincent Ficini interviewed Scurria about 8 a.m. that morning. Barry read sections of the transcript that was recorded in the interview in court on Tuesday. Defense attorney, God bless you, Mary Beth Welch, did not object to the transcripts being entered or read in court, but insisted that Barry read it verbatim, including the words that were inaudible and sections where the transcriber could not make out certain words. Scurria allegedly told the detectives that Sager was an ex-girlfriend living with him who flew into a rage when he told her he was going to bring his new girlfriend to the apartment. He said Sager had been abusive to him in the past, but this was the worst I've ever seen. Now, when I did my little digging, per public record, okay, these two had a history of violence. And it was more so, Deborah Sager seemed to be the aggressor on a lot of those occasions. So it goes on to say that he says that she was very abusive to him in the past, but this was the worst that he's ever seen. She came from the kitchen with a knife, and she was either going to stab me or slice my, DICK off. He said in the transcript. That's also in the affidavit, y'all. The two began to tussle, and Scurria said he felt like he had to fight her off, according to the transcript, striking her several times in the head with the machete until she looked like she was more than unconscious. Okay. He said, I was devastated. I panicked and I tried to hide the evidence, he said, according to the transcript. When asked what he meant by evidence, Scurria allegedly replied, I guess the body, because I'll be honest with you, I thought nobody was going to believe what I said anyway. Scurria clarified that people had laughed at him in the past. They did. People had laughed at him in the past when he told them that Sager was abusing him. I don't understand why people feel like men can't be abuse victims too. They can. It happens. It happens. He then allegedly admitted to cutting Sager's head off using a machete. I don't know why they said allegedly, because it's fact. He said it, okay? Not a good one. I made more of a mess. Then chopping, he allegedly said, and placing it in a trash bag near the body before attempting to cut off her leg. That was when he was surprised by the police officer, he said. Scurria was photographed nude minutes after the interview ended and showed no fresh injuries. According to Barry, he added that Sager weighed 105 pounds. Oh, she's a tiny little thing. While he estimated Scurria weighed approximately 180 pounds. Kemp had Barry read out parts of the medical examination, finding if there was any kind of other damage to the victim. What they did find was she did have cuts near her lip, as well as multiple abrasions to her head, face that's consistent with being struck by a fist, according to the reports. Barry had said that Scurria never mentioned in the interview that he stabbed the victim in the back near her shoulder, as allegedly, this is what the autopsy revealed, y'all. She was stabbed as well in her shoulder. The medical examiner additionally found cuts all over the victim's left leg. That was where he was allegedly trying to cut off when he was discovered. He was trying to chop the body up, basically. There were stab wounds to the right leg, bleeding from the muscles surrounding all of these wounds, indicating that she was still alive, y'all. She was still alive when he was chopping her head off and trying to cut that leg off. Oh, God. Barry said the neck wound also showed bleeding in the muscles. Oh, again, meaning Sager was still alive at the beginning of the decapitation process. The causes listed on her death certificate right now, is decapitation in the manner that was listed as homicide. So I don't know if you guys ever saw a death certificate, especially when it comes to a homicide. It'll say homicide and the way they died. So this would, if I was to get a copy, it would say homicide on it, and then like two, about two spaces down, it'll say how the person was killed. So in this case, decapitation. Oh God. Barry said her neck wound. Okay, we read that part. Scurria was wearing a red prison jumpsuit. He is being held. Where is he being held? In jail in Concord. Is that George's Hill? Is George's Hill considered Concord? I don't think so. Wearing a red prison jumpsuit. He scanned in the cleared courtroom where he was let in, but otherwise remained calm and impassive during testimony. He did not have anyone there, according to this, on his side, family or friends or nothing like that. Welch presented no witnesses, had no argument at the conclusion of the hearing. Of course, he's being held without bail in county jail. I guess county jail would be. Is George's Hill still called George's Hill? I don't know. He's next scheduled for formal arraignment April 27th at the county courthouse in Media. I don't know. Maybe I might take a trip. And see, as this story can tell you, I mean, shit. One wrong night, man. One wrong fuck up, could change our lives forever. I mean, obviously, this young man's life has changed forever. I'm sure that woman's family life has changed forever, especially in the manner that it was done. All around, it's just bad. Bad. I don't know. I always say, like, we're always one or two decisions away from shit going completely left. You feel me? I don't know. Well, that's the update for the House of Horrors. Stay tuned. See if the spirit moves me. I might drive up there or down there, over there, and sit in and see if time permits. Might be in the area anyway. Anyway, yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. That's a very fitting background. That's an ambulance, by the way. Anyway, y'all be good. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. Remember, y'all, stay sucker free.